Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce Joe Cotti from Airbus, our generous sponsor of this year Estonian User Conference. Joe, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. Always a pleasure to be here in Tallinn. I know that the session after lunch is usually the toughest one because people ate, people are full, people want to sleep, and it's okay. So I will try to do my best to keep you engaged, entertained, and present at least. So Airbus SEO capabilities is a big topic. I have 20 minutes. I hope I'll keep the time. And with it, I'll start with my usual opening for each presentation. I like to bring something that you could relate. The question is if somebody can recognize it. Please, anybody? Yes, please, the gentleman in the second row. Where is it? What is it? I hope. Yeah, it is Tallinn, but happy. So yeah, this is Tallinn taken from one of our satellites, and we'll discuss this further in a minute or two. So what we'll talk about? A short intro, and I do mean a short intro because ultimately you're here to see and listen to technical things and not an introduction. However, I must do a small intro nevertheless. Then a very short reminder. Again, I promise stress on the very short. Existing capabilities, this is what you're here for. What's next? Because, yeah, Airbus keeps developing and you should be aware of what we're doing. And of course, as always, a lot of cool satellite images. This one from Bora Bora, if anybody wants to go and take a vacation, highly recommend it. Never been there myself, but the image looks good. As I promised, a very, very short intro, just so you know who we are, because in the end, people know Airbus. Big corporation, obviously. We have a commercial. These guys do the airplanes. If somebody wants an airplane, I don't have it, but I can connect you to my colleagues. Airplane, anybody? No. Helicopter, second division. We are the biggest helicopter manufacturer in the world. Nobody knows it, but that's the reality. And then in the middle, there is defense and space. That's where I work. Within it, many other things. Connected intelligence is the subdivision, and underneath space digital, which is ultimately the entity which is responsible for the commercialization and access of our satellites. Other interesting things, space systems, the entity that builds Sentinel satellites, air power, if you want a military airplane, not a commercial one, these guys will help you, and many, many other things, which is, yeah, we can skip it. Only 2 slides with number, this is one of them, just for you to see and realize how big we are. We are not only European, we operate on a global level, ultimately. 2,600 customers, 2,300 employees, 27 direct receiving stations, most of them commercial, some of them governmental, some of them our own. 1.2 petabytes of data we produce. You can keep reading the numbers, but ultimately, the important message here is that we are not only German, not only French or Spanish, we are everywhere. I'll let the video speak for itself because I speak too much already. So I will admit our marketing team has a flavor for dramatic. Nevertheless, in 2 minutes, it shows what we can do instead of me speaking for 2 hours. Ultimately, these are all use cases which our fleet of satellites helps tackle. Again, depending on where we are and what we want to do. So, mentioning the fleet of satellites, I want to start by saying something which is obvious. We do not have the biggest fleet. We don't have hundreds of satellites like others. None, we believe in it. We believe that for each and every task and mission, there should be the adequate tool for it. Not 500, 1,000, 5,000 satellites that all do the same. For me, if you have a nail, you use a hammer. You don't use a spoon or a fork. So we don't have the biggest, however, we have the most diversified one. Pleiad Neo, 30 centimeter resolution, Pleiad 50 centimeter resolution, Spot 1.5, Vision 1, the name says it all, 1 meter. We have radar satellite as well, and we are developing a new fleet, which I'll discuss a bit later. So, as I mentioned, for every tool, for every mission, the correct tool, for every task, the correct satellite, not one size fits all. This is what we think. To compare, it's easily visible here. Moving from 1.5 meter, this is what you could see, across the radar domain, then 0.5 meter, 30 centimeter, and then the post-processing of Pleiad Neo to 15 centimeter. This is way easier to compare than the previous slide. So you can see the difference, and you can see that for some things, 1.5 is good enough. For some other things, you must go to 15. Pleiad Neo is the satellite I wanted to focus on. I look around, many of you know me already, many of you never seen me speaking about it, so I'll try to do a reintroduction as quickly as I can. This is our flagship system, 2 identical satellites for 10 years, 30 centimeter resolution, fully owned and operated by Airbus. And this is something which is important to mention because it means that the full capacity is dedicated for the users. We don't pre-book for governments. We don't follow big contracts by EU Commission. There are users, just like anybody in this room could be our user. It means that when you need an image, you call us, or me if you want, and you can get an image. Simple as that. 3.5 meter geolocation accuracy. Actually, we already improved it. We are at 3 meter coming down from space. 1 million square kilometer of acquisitions daily. And as I said, this is the last slide with numbers, as far as I remember. Last but not least, spectral bands. We only have 6. However, these are sufficient to do some of the work that I presented in the video and some of the examples I will discuss later on. I think you can still recognize this one, but I was gracious to write. So this is Tallinn. This is 3.2 over 3.7. The full picture is actually bigger. It's 14 by 14 picture image, roughly 296 square kilometers. This is one image of Pleiad Neo, and what you're seeing is not even the full size of it. Why am I showing it? Because it's important to grasp that with one image, we can acquire large swaths of area. With one image, we can collect many square kilometers in a consistent way without the need of orthorectifying, stitching, mosaicing, and other cool process you need to do when you're dealing with smaller segments like drones or airplanes. 296 square kilometers in one image, 3.2 over 3.7, what you're seeing now. But let's zoom in because it's nicer like this. I zoomed into this specific area, not because of the church, even though I'm sure you recognize it, at least the Estonian colleagues. I zoomed into this segment because what I do like about it is the radiometry. Look at the roof here, all of them. Different shades of red, all of them very consistent, without color leaks, without disturbance, meaning that the telescope is so sensitive that you can pick up and diversify these various different shades of red without any cross interference with each other. I would also dare to say that if somebody is putting his laundry in the windows, you could also see it. So this is 40 centimeter post-processed to HD15. HD15, it's the size of the pixel. It's not the GSD. It's important to differentiate that. This is not a native 15 centimeter. I will go into deep explanation later on. However, it's important to realize that this is not the full resolution. It's just post-processing. Another example here, another subset from the same image. Here I picked it because I enjoy looking at the cars very well, and again, the facades. This image was taken with an oblique angle of around 25 to 28, which means you're not looking downward, which means you can enjoy seeing the facades and every detail in the buildings. Obviously, you can also choose nadir, and then you will not see it. Regardless of the angle, the quality of the information stays the same. You can see the detail level, you can count the windows, you can count the cars, you can differentiate the trees, and as I said, with no exaggeration, if somebody is putting his laundry outside, I'm sure you can see it. So far we have touched on the standard capabilities, let's call it like this, meaning how the image looks like, the resolution itself. In the meantime, it's another subset of the same area in HD15. You can see the crane very nicely. You can see the superstructure. You can see this boat. I don't know what it is, but nevertheless. And in the meantime, we introduced the advanced capabilities we can do with this data. So as I mentioned, the 30 centimeter reprocessed to HD15. So this is the 30 centimeter resolution, the image that you've seen so far. You see the nice cruise ship. Everything is beautiful. So far, so good. This is how it looks like with HD15. I'll flicker it for you a bit. So what we have here is not additional information. It's not 15 centimeter native, which means that we are not adding anything new. What was in the 30 is there in the 15. The fact that we jumped to 15 centimeter pixel didn't give us more information. What we did achieve with this post-processing is more clarity. We are doing it with the proprietary algorithm co-developed with CNEST, the French space agency. What we do is to take the image, enhance the visual in it, but keep the fidelity of the information the same, meaning we are not altering on the pixel level what you can see or not see. We're just making it nicer, for the lack of a better word. Let's use this one. I'll draw your attention on this part here, where you can see it better. So this was a brief explanation on HD15. Let's move on. So this island, Krasuli, I was told by one of my colleagues that it's a little island in a region. Where is Mario from Priya? Where is this thing? Remind me again. Yeah, wherever he said it is. Because you have big islands, but unfortunately in the catalog we only had this area. But I chose this one because I was asked to bring only local examples. So I had this one. But the reason why I'm showing it is the dehazing capability. Ultimately, when you acquire images over a body of waters, coastal regions, islands, all these things, there is a natural haze, unfortunately. You have the midst of the water, you have air full of salt, you have this type of turbidity to the air that makes the image not as crisp and clear as we would want it. So we developed dehazing, and I'm putting right and left the two examples, so you can see the before and after. I hope you can see the difference on the screen, because on the TVs, you can see it very well, at least. For the people who cannot see the TV, obviously, this is the before, and this is the after. So again, we didn't alter anything in the information itself. We didn't touch the resolution. We just cleared the haze out of it, so the image itself, let's call it, is a bit clearer. Another example from the same area again. I think it can see better on the land. You can see the green is a bit more green. You can see the lines are a bit more sharp. You can see that the blue is a bit more blue. Sounds a bit funny, but nevertheless. Again, on my screen it looks good. On the TVs over there, as I can see, it also looks good. I hope that on the projector you can see it as well. Now, how to access all of this? We have a platform called One Atlas. One Atlas is our portal, which allows you to do several things. One of these things I introduced already is to get the data itself, meaning you can order data, you can test data, download data, all of it. On top of it, you can also do some analytics, specifically object recognition, land use, car track detection, airplane detection, meaning that on the portal itself, you have two things combined. You have the access to the data, you can do it by yourself autonomously, and you can run some specific tasks to get information out of it if you want. So moving into that part, the information itself, here is another subset of the same image that we've discussed so far. And this is how it looks like after we ran the current track detection and classification algorithm. As you can see, there are many, so I've zoomed in to show you how it looks like when you zoom in a bit. So with one atlas, you can do all of it in several clicks. You get the image, you run the algorithm, and you can then decide to download the shapefile of the detection, download the image, download both, display it, stream it. Virtually any combination of tasks you want to do, you can do it on the platform itself. Another example here, again, Tallinn, obviously. And here is the land use land cover map that you can launch again from one atlas. So you get the image, you request the land use land cover, and as you can see, pretty high fidelity. And then, as I said, we are keep evolving, we are keep doing new things. So next, what come next? Pleiad Neo Next. This is what we are preparing. The Pleiad Neo Next program is in full effect already. The satellites are being constructed and are going to be launched in 2028. So we have a continuity of Pleiad Neo with the Pleiad Neo Next. A few information on it. 20 centimeter native class resolution. It doesn't mean 20 itself, the number is still confidential, but we're breaking the 30 centimeter barrier and going into the 20. It means even higher resolution, more details and more clarity of information. Of course, the HD algorithm will be applied the same, so you can deduce that if we're breaking the 30 centimeter into the 20, the HD moving from 15 will move to something even higher. Few more information for the people who are more curious. This is the technical sheet on the satellite itself. We are reducing the SWOT from 14 to 11 kilometers, unfortunately. The resolution is a set 20 centimeter class. We are going to be acquiring at a higher accuracy. The one we have now already 3 meter. Lifespan 12 years instead of 10. Same orbit as Pleiad Neo, same spectral band as Pleiad Neo, same infrastructure as Pleiad Neo. Ultimately, it's not a revolution, it's not a new satellite, it's an evolution, let's call it like this. But I know you want to see images because you're all curious, so I will show you some images. And the first thing you're going to be asking me, obviously, is how do we have images of a satellite who's not flying yet? So I will say that these are simulations. However, these are very high fidelity simulations because what we did is took aerial imaging and then obviously adjusted to compensate for atmospheric distortions, the geometry, the pollution, and everything else that affects the satellite image, and we reached these simulations right here. So while you look at them, I will keep telling you that our scientists believe that this is a very good representation of the quality you will have in 2 years. And the reason why we know it's a very good representation is this one. I'll let you focus on the cars, and then I will zoom in on the cars, and then I will challenge you to tell me what is missing in each and every one of these cars. It's not the driver. We don't have a satellite that can look and see if the driver is there, but there is one thing missing in each and every car, truck, everything. Yes, who said it? Anyone? Who said it? I want to give him a prize later. Bravo. So yes, side mirrors are missing. And why are they missing? Because you all have a car, I presume, and you well know that a side mirror is well below 20 centimeter class. It's smaller, meaning that the resolution we're going to have doesn't support to have a mirror. If the resolution won't support it, the simulation will not have it. So it's not a Photoshop. This is a real, true representation of the quality we will have with the good things, meaning a lot of new particulars you can see on the cars, sunroof, and all of these things. But yeah, the mirrors are too small, so you will not see it with that resolution class. Another example, here in Paris. The structure here, for me, it's remarkable because you see every little line in a very crisp way. People, obviously, again, from a satellite. And here, for the industry people, very complex machinery and piping, which you can still identify and recognize very easily. Record delivery time of data is important for us. Ultimately, if we take an image and it doesn't get it in time, it's useless. So 12 minutes is the fastest we have ever been so far to deliver an image from acquisition. However, we want to improve it. And how will we do it? With more infrastructure, meaning more antennas and more stations. It looks like today we will have Toulouse supporting us, Kiruna and Inuvik. We have Svalbard. We will add Punta Arenas and other two in Australia and South Africa. With these stations, we can access each orbit, South Pole, North Pole, and Central Europe. However, as you can see, there are gaps, so more infrastructure can be put. Regardless of this, with this type of access, where you can see the satellite in the north, in the south, and in Central Europe, we can deliver images in under 15 minutes. We are doing it now, and we hope to improve the numbers with these new infrastructures. And having said that, I leave you with a nice image of Victoria Falls, and I hope I was on time. And thank you for the attention.